I am going to get Paulina all hooked up for her next talk. We are talking about green code on the cloud, something that's really super important. I think as a tech industry, we consume so much energy, so many resources, and we all have a responsibility in the provisioning of those resources. Oh, it's not on the screen yet. Yes, it's on the screen. Are you happy with the podium mic, or would you like the handheld?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I'm going to hand over to Paulina. Woo.
So I'm talking after a very well-known person, so I'm a bit stressed, so let me go through it. Hope I can manage the expectations. So let's talk about green code today in the cloud. Why in the cloud? I will explain in a minute. Shortly about me. I'm originally Polish, but I lived for many years in Denmark. I finished mechatronics and automation robotics. Now I'm studying AI and machine learning. I went through corporate years. I got bored. I went freelancing. I started another company where we teach people and bring community and so on. And I mostly do DevOps, cloud, infrastructure, architecture, a bit AI and ML, as we all go into this direction. So we all look into DORA, how efficient we are, what's the cost, security, AI, but we don't really look into how green we are. And this all makes it very overloading. We all have a lot of information which we need to process, and we don't really find space for it. So we go forward without looking into it, as it's not as important. But we all know climate change. We all aware of its, what is it? It's changing the environment, and we have a quite big impact on it as IT. So we have high temperatures, melting icebergs, and other stuff. What are we trying to achieve to neutralize it? To have balance between carbon we emit and how do we influence into environment to get rid of the carbon, decrease it. I live in Copenhagen. It's one of the most cities where we cycle everywhere. There's more cycles than people, and you have traffics. All of us are sorting trash. We have windmills, renewable energies, public transport, and so on. We have, everyone know Greta Thunberg and some of the movements from previous years, especially Gen Z, which are very involved into environments. They don't even want to have kids because of it. We all heard it all, but we still have to live with it, and we have to put attention into it. But why is it important? One thing is environment, but also from another side, sustainability and grid cloud computing. It's more and more important for people and for the companies. As we can see, it's increasing over the years. And at least 50 people, for 50% of the people it's important, for more people even it's very important. So importance of it is increasing with the time. I asked AI how carbon footprint looks for it in the cloud. We got foods on the clouds. That's not exactly what I meant, but. And right now we have almost 85% of our organization putting cloud first. So that's why we're focusing on the cloud. We're going away from on-prem. We're going more and more towards cloud these days. And there are some statistics. IT is pretty much 1% of global electricity consumptions. Gas emissions, we are between 2 and 4% for IT. It doubled over last decade. We don't know how many resources it actually ate up. And gas energy consumption, we are responsible for 10%, and it's going to double by next year. So it's quite bad, and we have quite big impact for the world in IT and in our software. So nearly half of the resources in the cloud are neglected, not used, pretty much over-provisioned, not really needed. And because of this, we need to look into digital sustainability, to look into what can we do not only in our physical life with paper and so on, but also, with our digital trash. How many of you have a lot of pictures on the cloud or files which you don't clean up? Yeah, most of us. I have probably 10,000, which I should go through, or more. We only increase our subscription for the cloud, how much we should use. But let's check ourselves. I put DevOps Days.org in website carbon calculator, and the solution is quite bad. We are rated F. And what does it mean? We give more than 0.9 CO2 unit per page view. Here you just can see the rating overviews and how much it means for each category. But then the big black box for us is data centers. Where the energy goes, well, that's the map, how many of data centers we have worldwide. Quite a few. But under energy for data centers, we can go further. You have IT equipment, lighting, electricity. You need to cool it down. You have some air movement, again, cooling down, and some smaller stuff. But one is hardware, another thing is software. So, of course, we use physical hardware to run software. We need to cool it down and so on. And that uses a lot of energy. But on the other side, it's us and the companies through which we work for, where you have a lot of energy consumption, depending how you run your applications and systems, which needs energy. And as an effect, we have carbon footprint and effect for the environment. But how can we improve? Big picture. We have 3 main cloud providers. We have Google, Microsoft, AWS. As we can see, they at the different stages, but there is very big focus for each of them to go carbon neutral. AWS by next year, Google by 2030, Microsoft carbon negative. So there's a lot of initiatives. Each has their own tools for it as well, and current status where they are and when they're aiming. Key findings, everyone is trying to go carbon neutral. AI and green technologies will play a higher role, what also means kind of business will increase in this area. But let's take AWS. For AWS, I work with it the most, so I have the most knowledge about it. They signed Paris 10-year early pledge, so they're trying to go carbon neutral even earlier than it's supposed to be. They wanna go carbon elimination, credible offset, and they put a lot of money into it. You can check each data center, what energy is powering it. So you have a lot of different tools to check it. 43 of data centers running by AWS are constructed with lower carbon concrete and steel. So we can see it's also more technology going in, not only from software perspective, but also from the perspective how the data centers run. In global numbers, 90% it's already renewable, so it's quite good score, still a bit missing. 4 billion liters of water are returns to the communities to be able to give back. And AWS infrastructure is up to 5 times more energy efficient than other standard European data centers. We have more solutions. They run container data centers for US Army. They use liquid cooling systems, AM cooling to train data sets, to train models how we can cool it efficiently. And we have a lot of renewable energies. Another thing, they put efficient chips, which have 40% better performance than other instances. But okay, that's a big picture, but what can we do? We can get certified. Everyone has probably at least, how many of you have certifications? Half of the room. So we have green software for practitioners, if you want, or get a new name. We all love different versions of DevOps. We can go with DevGreenOps. I've seen this name in some papers. But main thing is to implement it in every step. It's not only after test, it's not only coding, it's on every DevOps stage, similar as we had DevSecOps. One of the other things is going to be DevGreenOps, where we have to also look how what we create influence the environment. But what should really change is culture. If a culture doesn't change, nothing else will change. So spreading the knowledge and spreading what we do and what do we know about it, and then how we implement it, that's the key. But we need to start somewhere, so we need to know where we are. Does any of your companies is running dashboards or know what influence to the environment do you have? No one? That's quite bad. We have different tools which covers different areas of DevOps. Some cover all, some cover only some of them, but we need feedback. So that means monitoring. So we need to measure something to be able to figure out, okay, where we are and how can we get better, and how can we plan certain actions to get there. So one of the tools, it's AWS Customer Carbon Footprint tool, where you can check, okay, I have these resources deployed, what carbon and what environment impact do they have? That's how it looks. We have some other tools, other dashboards. We can measure more tools. And what is directly connected? Less resources, lower cost. That's what everyone likes, especially management. But what should we measure? There is many different options. There is many different sayings. I went through, I think, 5 to 6 papers. And we have energy consumption, CPU, data transfer volume, carbon emission, eco-design score. Choose one, start from something. Now you know where you are, so we can improve and optimize. So we all love KPIs, especially from our bosses. So we should also get KPIs for our environment impact and how green our systems are. But it starts also with our code. So what is green coding? So green coding is minimizing energy involved in the processing of line of code. And as an impact, we want to see how it influenced the environment. So lean coding, minimal amount of processing needed to deliver a final application. We've done some research. So pretty much C and Pascal, but we cannot use it everywhere. In automation, everyone still runs in C++, very common. Drones, autonomous drones, and so on, done my thesis on it. But there is still a debate for which metrics should be used for measuring energy savings. But what can we do? For sure, we can clean up. Scaling, too big databases, unused data, too many resources over-provisioned. Set up some policies. Or went through some data to see what do you need, what do you use, which backup you can delete. Maybe you don't need it as much. That we already asked. So yeah, data. Yeah, it also has its life cycle, not only systems and IT and code, but data as well. So take a look on your data and where you are and what do you do with it. Containers and virtualization, we all do it. Serverless, yeah. Resources on demand, that's also one of the keys, because Puppy versus kettle. Auto-scaling and load balancing. But be close to your users. You don't wanna, if your target audience is in Denmark, you don't wanna provision in US or in India. It's pointless. You wanna be close and decrease the speed and latency and efficiency versus how far you are, and cost as it as well. Okay, but what about build and deploy? How many not important tests do we run? How many not important builds do we run? And by this, we use more resources as well. We all don't want to wait for our tests too long and our pipelines to finish. So reduce and see what is needed, optimize. That's also one of the keys. Case study. They took a look on Baker Hedges. They took a look at what they're doing. What did they gain? 40% of reduction of cost, 98% time in wait time reduction, 26% faster runtime, 99% reduction on carbon footprint. So you have a lot of side effects by looking into your application. By reducing carbon footprint, you can make it more efficient, most cost optimal, and faster. But not only big players need to do it. You can be a startup and look like, okay, I spent $400 for my own, but let's look at some processes and suddenly it's half of the cost. Let's put it together. So all of it, so we need to look at every stage of it. So development stage, continuous integration, testing and deployment, operation maintenance. I don't gonna go over detail because it's the same what it was already said. I can see some pictures. Benefits, lower cost, less infra, more money in your pocket, less carbon footprint, less energy usage and happier environment, better efficiency, better brand image as people care more and more and wanna choose companies which are more sustainable. Key takeaways, green coding and efficient DevOps, reduce environmental impact, optimize cloud usage, that's gonna save you cost, money, and energy, automate as much as you can, and leverage tools and practices. There is no one which fits all. But what can you do today? Assess where you are and try to change the culture and awareness around you. Implement some of the green coding, clean up all your resources and unused. And next, explore what can you do. Maybe you can just log in your ID, in your, how do you call it, in your cloud website provider, and you can see, use the tool, open it. Maybe there's some simple steps which you can implement within a day or so and have quite good gains. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Paulina. So many practices to take away that you can implement in your team.